Hey, I'm Jonathan Koeppel here with my show, Logic and Common Sense. Have you noticed that men are becoming overwhelmingly girly? In fact, there are men that are actually dressing up as women and trying to be women and believing that they can get pregnant. It's a weird day to be a man. Soy boys, girly boys, and more as we talk about masculinity in today's society with a good friend of mine, Natalie, Carey. I'm Jonathan Koeppel. This is Logic and Common Sense, and we're getting started right now.
How do you get canceled? Two genders have a sense of morality. Is this real life? I'm Jonathan Koeppel, and you're listening to Logic and Common Sense.
Well, like I said, I'm Jonathan, and if you don't know me, I'm Louisiana's favorite fired teacher, and we're here live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube multiple times a week, giving hot takes on breaking news, talking with special guests about real-life issues affecting present-day society, and diving into relevant topics that aren't always easily understood, like the one we're talking about today, masculinity. And who better to talk about men from a different perspective than a woman? So I want to welcome Natalie Carey on with us. Natalie, hello. How are you?
Hi, John. I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm so glad we got to do this. Where are you actually located?
I am in Los Angeles.
Wow. Wait, right now you're in LA?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I am, God bless you. I was in Orange County not that long ago.
Okay.
It's a different type of world. I thought it was beautiful. I thought California's beautiful, but the streets, I was not liking downtown LA.
Yeah, no, it's not what you think of. Well, at least it wasn't about 10 years ago when I moved here. You know, you have this idea that LA is glamour and gold, and then you get here and it's really not. It's homelessness all over the streets, and it's crazy expensive rent, and it's just not what you think it would be.
Wow. That's cool. But so you're in Los Angeles, and I saw just tell us about yourself, because I know you do some videos. You are a contributor with Red Liberty Media, and you were doing some man on the street stuff not that long ago. So you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, I do some man on the street videos. I covered some protests, some riots after the Roe versus Wade decision came down. I was in the streets of LA getting some interviews with protesters, a few debates, and stayed late for some of the riots, which was not fun. Don't advise. But yeah, stuff like that. That's what I enjoy doing.
Wow, that's really cool. That's really cool. So you probably ran into a lot of people if you were out there during the riots, a lot of what I would call sissy boys who dress up with masks and they throw cans of soup at windows for some odd reason. They always throw cans of soup. They say they're trying to feed their families when you ask them, why do you have the soup? But they're really just throwing it through windows, which this is going to lead us right into our topic about soy boys, girly boys, and more masculinity. It's seemingly disappearing. At least it is in my world perspective of how I see things. I'm curious, as a young woman, what have you been noticing about just the culture of being masculine, guys in general? And if you think there's any sort of war on men, if you see a lot of sissy boys, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And I think it's a really important question, not just from my own personal experience, but from what I'm seeing with all of my friends as well. It'd be one thing if it was just me, but I'm seeing it with all of my girlfriends. It really does seem that there is a war, maybe not on masculinity, but on men for sure. And the calling that God has for men in their lives to step up, to be leaders, to be men of integrity. I'm not seeing a lot of that in the men that I'm seeing a lot of my friends date, and even in past relationships of my own. If I'm being honest, there does seem like there is a war against the values that God has told us to follow, that would lead us to have a good, full, constructive life. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of men who who are very narcissistic, who complain a lot, who don't rise up to challenges, who aren't taking responsibility, and things like that. We're seeing that. We know that strong men can rise to occasion. They can take responsibility. They want to provide for their families. They want to take care of their families. But we're seeing men who want to put off that responsibility for as long as possible, rather than embrace it and rather than seek to grow and mature.
Yeah,
so
I see it. And I tell you what, it's interesting because you don't see the promotion of like these superhero Hercules, manly men, strong father figures anymore. Like in old movies, you would see in a Western, there'd be the father, he protected the house, he had his gun, he had his family. And it was just this manly figure that was providing for his family, that was taking care of his family, protecting the family. You don't see that anymore. What you do see is this guy that I'm about to show you. I'm going to pull this on the screen. Let's see if we can see this. Yeah, I'm going to play this. This is what we see. This is what we see as men today. Like, this is who's promoted.
And this is a day in my life as a White House intern.
We did it, Joe. Hey, Jenny. I booked you a nail appointment, love.
Yeah, I didn't tell you to do that.
It's called Initiative. Is Olivia Rodrigo still here?
No. We've come a long way in our fight against this virus. We've vaccinated 160 million Americans. Are you getting this all down?
Don't worry, Queen. It's all right here.
I mean, this is so silly. This is the idea of men that gets promoted by the White House and TikTok.
This is so bad. It makes me think the communists have to be behind this.
Well,
there's no other way. It's just too insane.
It blows my mind that the men we see promoted are men that are trying to be women. And then like Dylan Mulvaney, the trans guys, like, 200 days of womanhood and getting featured with Forbes and all these other organizations. To me, it just doesn't make sense that we're promoting these fake women that are actually men, but they're terrible men. And this is what kids are looking up to today. This is what they see. When you go on TikTok and all these other sites, it's just this constant brainwashing of be a sissy man. And look, I say that somebody will probably they're going to make a comment later like, oh, you said it'd be a sissy man. A man doesn't have to be like super strong and a tough guy. That's right. You don't have to be a tough guy, but gosh, like you don't need to be dressing up like a woman and putting on lipstick and wearing skirts. Like that's not being a man. I mean, we really got to have some toughness back. I don't see it. I don't see it. And it's almost frowned upon because I used to teach. And I remember being a public school teacher and saying that it seems like the school system is designed to suppress boys from being boys. Girls, they color in the lines. They like to sit down. They like to have tea, sugar and spice and everything nice. That's the girls. Guys, they want to break stuff. They want to jump. They want to use their hands. They want to get in fights. They want to get dirty. They want to play in the mud. They need a lot of projects. They need movement. And the public school system suppresses that. And then when boys act like boys, they get diagnosed. Oh, this one's got ADHD. This one can't concentrate. This one's a behavior problem for being boys. So I see a massive issue going on, and it's not doing us any good. It is creating these narcissistic, weak men that are just controlling by fear, or just they got ego problems, but it's not that true leader like we would love to see. I mean, you think of, I think of a man, I think of Ron DeSantis. That's what I think about. I don't know about
That's a controversial thing to say right about now.
Yeah. I mean, if you thought about like,
shouldn't be, but
yeah, it shouldn't be. But if you said, hey, this is somebody I see as like a ideal man, obviously not the perfect man, but like, who is it like Brad Pitt, Machine Gun Kelly?
You know what? I have found an amazing man in my husband, and I would say that it is his character. It was his character that made me fall in love with him, and not just fall in love with him, but continue to desire him, and also to trust that this is someone that I can be with for the rest of my life, and who I want to entrust myself and my future children with, because he does have those values. He honors God, he fears God, and he showed that he can step up to the plate, right? He can take on that responsibility. He wasn't afraid of responsibility. He actually was eager to become a father. To We don't have kids yet, but that was something we talked about before marriage, and it wasn't something like, oh no, what happens if. It was like, no, I'm eager to step up to the plate. I want to have kids. I want to raise a family. And that was very strong for me, especially when I'm looking around me and I'm seeing women they've been dating their boyfriend for 5 years and he won't commit, and they're just waiting. And you think that when they finally get married, they're going to be happy. Like, no, because how long did they make them wait? How long did they make that woman feel like she wasn't worthy? Like I'll love you when, and so I think it's someone who will commit. It's someone who shows that they'll work hard, and it's someone who has integrity too, right? Because it's not just like, oh, I'll commit to you. It's, I'll commit to you, and I'm going to make a promise to you, and I'm going to work every day to keep my promise to you, to be faithful and to be loyal and to care for our family and to be committed to you. So yeah, that's the ideal man, I guess.
Wow. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm not looking for a man because that's not how I roll, but I would agree with you on that. And it's sad because that ideal image of a man is frowned upon right now.
Yeah.
And women are being told to be promiscuous. Women are being told to go get, you get pregnant, go get an abortion. You don't need to commit to anybody. You don't need a man. I mean, like at the end of the day, like, does a woman need a man? Does a man need a woman? I think you could live without being married or without having that partner. But I mean, God literally created man, and then he said it's not good for man to be alone. So he created a helper, he created a woman. Yeah. And all throughout creation, it's just, there's something special about a man that leads and a woman that's there, that also, I mean, is the Proverbs 31 woman that works hard and takes care of the family and is a little bit independent, a little bit like stay-at-home mom, kind of entrepreneur, has her own thing going on, but involved in the family. But all of that is so frowned upon by society. And we think about, the left, they're running their whole campaigns on abortion. Like, we want you to have access to as much abortion as possible. It's defeating the purpose of commitment. It's defeating the purpose of, I mean, that takes, honestly, abortion takes the whole, it gives the woman all the choice when she's like 50% responsible for that kid that she's murdering.
Well, we want to talk about weak men, right? It's so easy and we do it all the time, but we don't talk about weak women. Weak women are insecure. They need attention from men. They care more about the attention from men than they care about their relationship with God. They don't have integrity. They don't have boundaries. And they use their body and their emotions to manipulate men to get what they want. And that's how we end up in that situation. And then they find themselves maybe pregnant, and because they've lowered their standards so much and they've strayed so far from good, true values, they're now choosing that weak man that they placed above God, who was never committing to them in the first place, who never said, I will be there for you and our child if we ever were to have one, through thick and thin. And so they give up the greatest gift God could ever give a woman, for a man who never even cared about her in the first place. And it's because she strayed so far from her values. And it made her weak, and she doesn't even realize it. She's insecure. She needs attention from men. We see it all over the place. And so weak women in society is as big of a problem as weak men.
Yeah. And I would say that this can all go back to a father issue. And when you have a family that either doesn't have a father, has a bad father, has a father that's not there, it produces insecure kids who grow up to be insecure adults, that they don't know what it's like to have a father that's responsible. They don't know what it's like to have a male role model in life. They didn't see it. So this, to me, I think, because America used to be so family oriented, in my opinion, and there was such an emphasis on like family dinners, kids. It wasn't like go to the ballpark and play travel ball and waste your life never having any time and just doing that. And that's not what I'm talking about. They did things as a family, like went to church together. Now, I mean, stores used to be closed on Sunday. Now it's a massive shopping day. Like whatever. Okay, it's not the end of the world, but people gave Sunday for family time. Now there's no family time is non-existent. Family dinners don't happen. Most of the households, it's not a nuclear family. It's some kind of dysfunctional setup.
Yeah.
I mean, it's reality. Divorce happens, things happen, and people separate. But that's what kids are growing up. That's what this generation is growing up in. And it's really, I think there's this bigger picture to destroy family by destroying men, because it gets rid of strong men, strong fathers. If those are not existing in a society, everything crumbles. And I think that's why we're seeing what we see today in America. And I just think that America needs men, needs fathers, because a sissy will never go to battle. A narcissist is not going to care about other people, but a man will, a strong man.
That's so true. I think you absolutely nailed it. And a kid that grows up in a dysfunctional family is going to raise a dysfunctional family, and the cycle will continue. And who's going to be there to save these dysfunctional families? The government, right? So I think you're absolutely right.
And I find it funny. I mean, this topic isn't funny, but I do find this one thing that I'm going to show to be quite strange. In America, there's a war on masculinity, but China is actually implementing, like, they want to promote masculinity. I'm going to pull this up on my screen. This is an article from NBC News about how China proposed teaching masculinity to boys as state is alarmed by changing gender roles. And China is pumping an emphasis on masculinity. They're putting emphasis on being masculine. Meanwhile, America is putting an emphasis on having girls dress up as boys and boys dress up as girls, and getting boys to go into the girls' locker room. If you want to identify as a squirrel, be a squirrel. Like, that's what's happening in our country. Meanwhile, China is saying, we're not having none of that nonsense. We want boys to be boys and to be more masculine. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's really frustrating, because there's those of us like you and me and our peers who are like, hello, wake up, you guys. And some people are waking up, but many are not. And we're going to find out. I mean, you're going to find out. You think we're just like saying this and everything's going to stay the same? No, we're saying this for a reason. Hello, sirens. We're putting off the warning sirens. If people don't listen, find out.
Alert.
Yeah, people are good. You're going to find out. We're not just saying this because it's fun. Like,
yeah, no, it's not fun. It's not fun. And I would just say that, I mean, we already know there's an effort to sedate men, to not be responsible, to not take initiative. The government gives, I mean, look, if I didn't want to work, I can go get welfare, food stamps, housing credits. I could live a very okay life. And if I was comparing it to other countries and quality of life, it'd be okay. I wouldn't really be that mad about it. And I wouldn't have to work. I wouldn't have to be responsible. And so the government is just giving out all these handouts and making these lazy men that don't have to work hard. There's no consequence for not being responsible now anymore. And I just, it's sad. It's sad. I have one more video I'm going to show of some men. This one's pretty cool. You might have seen it. It was a physical education class back in 1962, a long time ago. That's when, like, it was okay to take your shirt off in high school and do push-ups. Now PE is just walk around the gym for 30 minutes, and that's, whatever.
Right.
Let's see if I can get this on the screen. High school fitness in 1962. I was not alive back then.
Me neither.
Yeah, I don't think you were. You were definitely not. Okay, here we go.
Crotty, physical education director at La Sierra High School, has developed a program that assures every student of physical excellence. Exercise on the grip swing puts muscles on the least athletic. Extension push-ups are among the toughest of the drills. As an incentive to excel, the color of the shorts the boys wear is determined by their ratings on performance charts. Some requirements for top ratings are stricter than for Annapolis plebes. A lad who has mastered the pegboard will find a military obstacle course a snap. 200 schools across the country have adopted La Sierra's program of 15-minute daily competitive exercise. On a hot day, they wet down the wrestling mats for sliding. The boys at La Sierra are learning that it's not only good sense to get toughened up, it's fun.
So I don't think that would fly today. I don't think that would work very well. The boys like getting toughened up.
That makes me so sad watching it, because did you see how happy they looked?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm the most happy when I'm in a group setting and we're being competitive. If we're playing a competitive sport where somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose, because it makes it's very fun and exciting. If there's no losers and there are no winners, then what's the point of achievement? Then achievement means nothing.
Yeah. A participation trophy.
I can only imagine today if let's say I was the principal of a high school and we implemented a tough guys PE program, and they're out there climbing the board, they're doing push-ups.
They'd love it. They would love it.
The guys would love it. I already know.
But the parents would hate it.
Well, the parents would hate it. Some liberal activists would show up. This is too hard on the boys. And what about little Timmy, who's overweight and all he wants to do is nothing? Well, we're helping Timmy to get physically fit, which is going to help his health, and we're teaching him life skills.
But
they don't do that.
But that's fat shaming. If you say that he should be physically fit, you're fat shaming. So
that's a whole. It's sad, but that's the truth. That's the reality of today. I want to get your take on one last thing. You mentioned participation trophies, and I was talking about winners and losers. I spoke to a woman. Yeah, it was actually yesterday at a school board meeting, and it kind of threw me off because there was an election, a school board election. There were winners and there were losers, and this person didn't win their race. But I said, good job. You tried. Appreciate being a part of the American process, whatever. And she goes, it's like with the kids, we're creating winners and losers, and it shouldn't be that way. And I took a step back and I said, wait, what is she talking about? We shouldn't have winners and losers? If we didn't have winners and losers, we'd be a socialist society. We'd be pure socialism, because if every outcome is equal, then there's no purpose for achievement. Merit means nothing, and there's no motivation to go the extra mile. So with that being said, what do you think about participation trophies?
I don't know. I mean, like you're saying, to have a grown adult saying this about an election, we shouldn't have winners and losers. What does that even mean? So should everybody just be on the school board? And if everybody gets in, do we have nothing to aspire to? How am I going to prove to you that my idea is better?
Right.
And then we all end up with just a bunch of cruddy ideas because nobody had to put any effort into having a good idea and having to defend it. So it's a race to the bottom for sure.
I like that race to the bottom. I'll never forget when I was a kid. So I'm probably the last generation. I'm 27. I don't know how old you are, but when I was growing up, we played park ball. So if we played soccer or baseball, it was at the recreation department. There was a park. You played with other kids from the area. And there were no participation trophies for T-ball and whatever was after T-ball. I remember very clearly. We lost, we cried. We won, we were happy. But then as I got older, we were leaving a game and there was a tournament that literally gave out participation trophies. And my dad, I'll never forget this. He looks over, he goes, what are they giving these kids? A trophy for playing the game, even though they lost? Are you kidding me? A participation trophy? Who would have thought of that? Like he was upset about it. Like it was the dumbest thing he had ever seen in his life. And wow, how far it's come that now everybody's a winner and gets a participation trophy. I think is ridiculous.
We're coddling everybody's feelings.
Yeah.
And that makes them weak too. If you don't ever have to deal with failure, and overcome those feelings and learn how to pick yourself up from failure and grow and do better, I mean, you're not going to go anywhere in the real world.
Yeah, in the real world, because in the real world you do lose, and it's a race, it's a marathon. I don't want to say it's a competition, but I mean, just think about it. You go to the grocery store, you want to get that parking spot. Somebody else might get it before you. You're not going to always get what you want. Or you go shopping on Black Friday and they got one flat screen TV left and you're running for it, but somebody else gets there first. You don't always win. You don't always get what you want. I think kids need to learn how to lose. I think it's very important you have to be a loser at some point. You have to lose. I didn't always win in sports. I didn't always I have lots of failures, but the thing is you don't get success without having failures. And I do see that in today's society with the whole participation trophy ideology. Let's just call it that, right? The participation trophy ideology. It's teaching people, the young men that we want to be the strong masculine figures of life and society. We're teaching them to just like be soy boys and sissies. And we're not showing them how to be tough and to lose. So anything you want to add to this before we end?
I was actually just wondering how you felt as a kid when you got that participation trophy. Did it change anything for you? Do you remember feeling like, did it make you feel better? What did it do to you?
So the league that I played in, we didn't get that. So I was out by the time they started doing that. But I got to see it at they had different leagues that would play at the same park. And I got to see it when it was first being implemented. And I just thought it was dumb. I said, well, what's the point of playing the game if nobody wins?
Yeah.
That takes all the fun out of it. I mean, could you imagine if the Dodgers were playing baseball and they're playing against the Astros and, nobody wins, nobody loses? I mean, what's the point of the contest? So,
well, everybody knows who won. You give them a participation trophy, they still know they lost. You still know you didn't win. Come on. But
the entitled brat says, well, I got the trophy. I'm still a winner.
Yeah.
So anyways, Natalie, this has been awesome. I'm so glad you got to come on all the way from Los Angeles.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
California. So everybody that's watching, please like and share this video. You can follow Natalie. Natalie, where can they follow her?
I'm on Instagram. It's at Natalie Carey with an underscore after it. After the name.
Natalie Carey with an underscore at it. Her name's right there under her face, like over that way somewhere. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, this has been an awesome episode of Logic and Common Sense. Thank you for watching. Thanks, Natalie. And see you soon.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Bye now.
Bye.